Hey guys, how are you all? My name is Ashutosh Saxena and I'll be your instructor for this course of Ansible. I welcome you all in this course. So, before directly jumping towards the Ansible, there are some prerequisites which you need to know. You need to at least know the basics of a Linux environment, preferably CentOS or Red Hat Enterprise Linux, any version 7.5 or 8. Okay, so we are learning Ansible over here. So if you have any queries or doubts or anything related to the matter which you are learning over here, I am posting a link of a Telegram channel in the description. You can join the Telegram channel and you can ask the queries over there, or you can directly connect me on my LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn. So you can directly connect me. Okay. So I'll be your instructor for this course. I have cleared Red Hat Certified Specialist in Ansible Automation exam EX407, and I've cleared Red Hat Certified Engineer, which is the latest exam on version 8, which is also shifted on the Ansible. Red Hat Certified Engineer with Linux Automation. So, which is Ansible is a part of that exam, which is a tough one. So, let's directly jump towards the world of Ansible, the world of automation, the world of power, the world of power actually. Now, why I'm saying this sentence? Let's directly jump on this thing. Before directly jumping towards Ansible, this will be the theoretical lecture. In the next lecture, I'll show you how to install Ansible, and I'll show you how to set up your own local lab environment in your laptop, which operating system to use, how to install Ansible. I'll explain each bit by bit everything. Okay, I'll give my 100%, and I expect you to give 100% attention in this particular lecture. Okay, so let's directly jump. If you have any queries or doubts, just join the Telegram channel, which is the link is in the description. Thank you so much. So let's directly jump towards the Ansible. Now, what is Ansible? What actually the Ansible is? क्या है Ansible? So Ansible is open source. Okay, Ansible is open source. Now, what is open source? Open source is simply means the code is open. The software's code is available on a repository, public repository such as GitHub. You can see the code of Ansible, how the particular software is written. Anyone can enhance it, or you can use their own way. Ansible is an open source software, also known as automation platform. Okay, and most of the time, this software is known for automation most preferably. And the full names of the used by the community people is the automation engine. If someone asks you which automation engine you use, the most powerful or the most acceptable answer is Ansible. Although there are other automation tools also like Chef and Puppet. They're also good, but the Ansible is the most trending one. Okay, so if you're working in IT, on a system administration work, you need to perform many repetitive tasks. Okay, for example, if your boss says that, Ashutosh, you need to start this virtual machine at 9 a.m. every day. Okay, and you need to shut down this virtual machine at 7 p.m. every day. Okay, that's completely acceptable. Not one virtual machines, 100. My God, I'm so sorry. Okay, are you kidding me? Yes, 100 virtual machines you need to start and stop every day. This is your job. You are a system administrator or you are a hardware engineer. You need to do this, obviously, or I'll fire you. Damn. What I need to do? There are plenty of ways to do this. Okay, I'm smart. Oh, so what are the ways actually? The ways are either you can write some scripts. Okay, I'm good at scripting. I accepted I'm good at scripting. Okay. So, but there's one thing. Scripting. That means you need to write the script. God damn it. You need to write the script. Obviously, it will take time. Oh boy, the coding skills. You need to know the coding skills. Bash? No. Python. That's very great. No, the boss will only accept the bash. God damn. Okay, bash. The bash scripting is very great. Very powerful. I'm not against this scripting. This. I'm not against scripting anyway. But in case of bash scripting, for example, if you have ever worked on bash, if any task is performed successfully, it will obviously return the zero value. That means the return value will be zero. Or if a particular task is not, went successfully or it is failed, the return value will be a non-zero number, obviously. Okay. For example, if you need to add a user in your Linux machine, for example, a user named Bruce, and if the user Bruce already exists, okay, if the user Bruce already exists, it will say that the machine will say that, sorry, the Bruce user already exists in the file system, or we have already entered with this name. That means the return value of that particular thing will be zero. So if you have written the script that will add a user, just you need to type the name. The script will add the user. You don't need to type the command user add, and you need to don't need to give the permissions and all, the sudo or and all. But the thing is, if the user already exists, that means the script will say, I'm sorry, I can't add this. That means you need to write the thing. You need to check the condition every time. If the user doesn't, if the user exists, do this. What this simply means, it will return the number a zero or a non-zero. This is a syntax of bash scripting. Okay, so if it will return the thing. But this is complex, right? This is complex. You need to every time you need to check the condition, if, as, do this. Although Ansible also has if as, and all these conditionals and loops and all. But scripting is kind of complex. I'm so sorry if you're a scripting guy. Okay, but the thing is this, and obviously you need to maintain the things. It requires maintenance. Once again, I am repeating. Please, please. I am not against the scripting. Okay, so this is one thing. So Ansible. This is another way you can use Ansible. Okay, we can use Ansible, but why should we use Ansible? Just Ashutosh, give me one reason, or give me a solid answer that actually why we need Ansible. Why should I use Ansible? I can write scripts. Okay. Now, Ansible is powerful. Okay. Ansible is powerful. Ansible is simple. Ansible is agentless. Now, what is agentless? I'll explain in a bit. First, I'll explain you these two particular topics. Subtopics, actually. Why it is powerful, why it is simple, and what is actually an agentless concept. Before directly jumping towards agentless, I'll explain you these particular topics. I'll explain agentless in a bit. Wait for a minute. Now, powerful. Powerful simply means it can deploy applications very easily. It can help you in the configuration management of your particular servers. If, for example, if you need to configure a web server, for example, if you need to install software that is start a web server that is HTTPD or Nginx, or for example, if you need to change the port number, for example, if you have installed a software that is known as HTTPD on a Red Hat system, yum install HTTPD, by default, this will listen on the port number 80. You know that. If you need to change the port number, for example, to 5000, you need to change that port manually. You need to go to the configuration file /etc/httpd/httpd.conf. Okay, and you need to check the listen line over there. There's a line listen written over there, listen, on which the port is listening. By default, it is 80. And if you need to change it towards the 5000, you need to change toward the 5000 and you need to restart the service. And for example, if your system is rebooted, that means after the system is rebooted, you need to You don't want that the service will get stopped. That means you need to enable the service too, so that the service will not get down. So that means you need to configure it. Okay, but Ansible will do in just very less time. You just need to give the instructions. It will do it for you. Just sit back and have a cup of tea. This is the power. Workflow automation simply means workflow automation. That means you can go with a workflow. That means your day-to-day task, it will automate for you. Network automation will see in the detail. Okay, so that's when Ansible is powerful. Simple. Simple. Yes, it is learned. It is obviously simple. How? This is simple. This is a human readable. Uh, okay, human readable. Thank you so much. How? Everything. Human can read anything. Ashutosh, come on. Human can read anything. I agree. I agree with you. Human can read everything, anything. But oh boy, just look at this. Let's take a reverse gear. Don't you think this is kind of complex? Every time you need to check the condition. Is the task performed? No, get out. I'm sorry. I'm not against the scripting. Okay, this is the one thing, but this is so human readable, and this is easy to understand. Okay, jokes apart. So human readable. How this is human readable? It uses a syntax that is known as a YML or YAML. YAML stands for yet another markup language. This is simple. Okay. So if you haven't worked on YML, don't worry. I'll explain you each bit of YML, what's happening behind the scene, what is the array, and how can use the conditionals, loops, and all. Don't worry. Don't panic. This is just a theoretical lecture we are learning. Okay. Okay. This is the we have covered. Now, it executes the task in order. In order means, okay. For example, I ask you to configure a web server on 10 machines. Okay, I can install the software, I can start a service. What's the big deal, bro? No, sorry. You need to configure database server also. Oh, which database? Let's say MariaDB. Acceptable. Come on, 10 virtual machines. Okay, this is getting tougher, but I can manage. Okay, you need to configure the IP tables also. You need to install the IP tables, and you need to configure the IP tables also. Boy, this is really getting tough. That means you need to install the IP tables happen service on all the on all the machines, and you need to set up the rules for that IP tables. God damn! And one more thing, you need to set up the load balancer too. Uh, this is seriously not acceptable. I'm so sorry. I'm leaving this job. No, 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 no. We have Ansible. Okay, that means you can configure the tasks in order. That means it will configure the web server first, the database server, IP tables, and load balancer. Seriously? How? That's why this is the power of Ansible. Okay, within just within some time, say minutes or seconds too, it can do all of this for you just one go on n number of servers. But remember, it will perform in orders. First, it will set up the web server, then the database server, then IP tables, and the load balancer. The order which you specified, Ansible will do in this. Okay? Boy, don't you think this is getting exciting? Don't worry, we'll learn everything. Moving towards the next. Okay. What are the strengths? Well, obviously, they need to some. What are the common strengths of the Ansible platform? Ansible is a cross platform. And what is a cross platform, Ashutosh? Cross platform simply means it can work on the Linux. That means you can use OpenSSH on the Windows. That means WinRM or Unix platform systems, network devices, physical or virtual cloud. Great. And the containers too. Containers. What are the containers? Docker, Cryo, and Podman. Obviously, Docker is my favorite. So this is one thing. Human readable, as I told you, this is simple and it's a human readable language. It is YML. And don't worry, I'm again repeating, we'll learn everything about the YML. Dynamic inventories. Now, what are dynamic inventories? let's forget about dynamic, bro. What are inventories? But directly jumping towards inventories, let's hold this topic. Don't worry, I remember that I left the topic of agentless too. Let's hold for the second topic, as dynamic inventories. I'll explain you what is inventory, then I'll show you what is dynamic inventory in this lecture only. Don't worry, this is a theoretical lecture and an introduction too. Okay, so integrated with other systems. Integrated with other systems, yes, you can use the security systems, or you can use another configuration with Ansible so that it can extend. Okay, so for example, you can integrate with the Puppet or the Jenkins or the Red Hat Satellite or anything. I've prepared a project last month of I've integrated Ansible with Jenkins and Kubernetes and Docker with the Node.js application. So this is one thing. So you can integrate Jenkins with other systems or other technologies too very easily. Ansible is so powerful. So don't worry, remember the agentless and dynamic inventories. So let's jump in on the next thing. This is something which is technical. अब आएगा मजा खेल का. अब देखो, the types of machines the Ansible which uses is a managed and the controller. Wait, what? Yeah, managed and the controller. Managed means simply means, for example, there's a web server, a database server, one more web server, one more database server. Oh boy, one more web server. This is getting high. Database server, and this is the controller. Now you'll understand what is the agentless concept. Just concentrate over here. Okay, now these all servers which are managed by one controller, these are known as managed nodes. Okay, and this particular one is known as a controller. Just don't see this thing listed in inventory. I'll show you what is inventory. So this is the point. These are known as managed. These particular virtual machines are managed by this particular controller. How? Okay, this will manage all these machines. For example, you need to start up the database servers first. Then you need to start the web servers, obviously. And you need to shut down. First, you need to shut down the web servers, and then you need to shut down the database servers. Okay. For example, I asked you to start up the database servers first. Go ahead. Database servers first. And the web servers in the second. Okay. This is the thing, actually. So you are managing the thing. So these are known as managed nodes. And who is controlling? This is the controller node. Okay. So Ashutosh, you told that you will explain the agentless. This is the point where you will understand what is agentless. Agentless simply means you don't need to install any additional software on these particular virtual machines to talk to the Ansible or managed by Ansible. That means you don't need to install any particular additional software or a thing or a configuration on these managed nodes so that Ansible can handle them. That means you don't need to configure any particular agent on this thing. Okay, on these particular managed nodes. Okay, so that it will report back to you or something. It will do the work by their own way. You don't need to configure anything additionally on the managed nodes. Obviously, you need Ansible software on the control node to control all of them. How can I control? How can you control? By using Ansible. This is the main concept. What is agentless? Ansible is agentless because you don't need to configure any additional softwares on the managed nodes. That's why these are agentless. This is agentless. Now, how the Ansible will know who are the managed nodes, which operating system they are using, and how can it connect with them and all. So these particular concepts and the address kind of thing. The address is not the real name. Okay, I'm just explaining you. So how the Ansible will know that? So there's a concept that is known as an inventory, where all the IPs or the machines, all the related things which you need to check before moving towards the machine. Okay, so these all are returned in an inventory. There are two types of inventory: static and a dynamic. In case of static inventories, you just name the virtual machines, that these are my virtual machines, go and configure them. For dynamic inventories, update them by themselves. For example, you have 10 web servers. In the next day, you extended or scaled up to 20 web servers. The dynamic inventory will update it by itself only. You don't need to update that. Dynamic inventory is a tough concept. Not tough, but for a beginner, it is an advanced concept. But we'll look at a dynamic inventories in a far in this course. It takes time, obviously. So this is known as inventory. Okay. So managed nodes are listed in the inventories. Now, where is inventory and on what is inventory, we'll see in the technical section. This is the theoretical section. This is the way you need to pay attention, obviously. So if you don't pay attention, obviously, you won't get the next lecture. So Ansible has many modules. Now, what is a module? Module is simply a piece of code, for example, written in Python or shell script or anything. Ansible has many modules with this, which can help you in performing the many tasks such as handling the file system or installing the software or making the API calls even. So the modules can perform many tasks. So Ansible hundreds of modules with this. That's why which makes Ansible so powerful. Okay. So this is the core concept. Okay. Now let's show you one thing. This keyword looks so different, right? What is this? For example, you need to configure a web server. Okay. For example, Nginx. Acceptable. So if you need to configure the web server and you need to give the instructions to the managed nodes that you need to configure the web servers on all the nodes. Okay. How can you give the instructions? Okay. So either you can use a one-liner that is ad hoc. We'll see what is ad hoc commands. But most probably you need to write those things or the instruction in something that is known as a playbook in case of Ansible. For example, a Python script also, but in the world of Ansible, we call it as a playbook. Or in the shell script, we call it a shell script. Shell scripting language. In case of shell scripting, we call this a shell script.sh. Okay. So you need to write a playbook which will be written in a YML syntax. YML syntax. This playbook contains all the instructions which you need to perform. And as I told you, this will do everything in order. Web server, database, server, IP tables, and all. Okay. So playbooks are in a YML format in a text file called a playbook. Okay. So this is the one thing. For example, you need to, these are some of your web servers, some of your application servers, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. You, for example, you need to stop monitoring the things. You need to manage the load balancer, start or stop the services, deploy the applications. So you can write everything in this playbook and it will do everything on these particular application servers. This is the power, this is the magic. Okay, now this is the thing. Idempotent or idempotent. Sorry for mispronunciation. For example, if you have a doubt that Ashutosh, what if I run this playbook again? What if I run this playbook again? All these particular tasks are already done. No, obviously. Then idempotent simply means the Ansible should be able to run a playbook on the same host multiple times safely. Okay. For example, if you run this playbook on this particular application servers, you can run n number of times. N number of times. It will not affect anything. For example, you have this application server and you need a particular desired state. For example, you need to configure the web server. And if the web server is not configured, the playbook will configure the web server. Now it is configured. Now it is in the desired state. Now, if you run the playbook again, If you run the playbook again, it will not do anything. It will say it is already configured. No changes are made actually, and I will show you this in the next lecture or next to next lecture. In the next lecture, we'll set up the lab environment, local lab environment. So if you run the playbook n number of times, it doesn't affect anything. That means it is idempotent. Or you can use plugins with Ansible to extend this. Okay. But last but not least, the real use cases. For example, you can use the config for the real world use cases that are configuration management, application deployment, provisioning, continuous delivery, and many things, or security and compliance, obviously. Or you can use it with orchestration also. For example, you can use it with Kubernetes. Or no, if you have the great infrastructure, you can obviously integrate with Kubernetes, Mesos, OpenShift, Docker Swarm, obviously. So this is one thing. So these are some real world use cases. Obviously, everyone is using Ansible right now, and you need to learn also. You also need to learn Ansible because it's so powerful. Okay, so this is the end of this lecture. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next lecture. The next lecture will be of the lab setup, local lab setup in your own personal laptop. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next lecture.